evening, everybody. I'm hoping that you didn't see me dancing to the music. Then if you did, then you know I'm a happy person, and how embarrassing that is. If you did, put it in the comments just to make me feel really bad. Good evening and welcome to this month's AMA session. Wonderful of you to join us. Firstly, we have had an amazing week of OM System Week, full of creativity. That's been the theme for this week, and it doesn't stop there. There's still lots of things going on, so you need to check out the links that our gorgeous Michela puts in the chat to head over and book one of those things. If you didn't see last night, we had Hanu Hutamo on. Our Spanish team did an amazing live. Stephen says, looks like you were killing it, Claire. Yeah, I was killing it. How embarrassing. So let's talk this week. What we're doing, creativity. So what I thought we'd do tonight was you have the opportunity to ask anything. The board is open, the questions are open, so please can you get some questions in there. But we thought we'd kick off this session with some images of our own. The TEs aren't just technical experts, you know, they take pictures as well, and some of them are pretty good. So in the background today, we have Michela on the comments, and thanks Michela for stepping in last minute. You're an absolute star. But hailing from Spain, we have Tito. Hey Tito, how are you doing?
Hi Claire, I'm doing well, and you? Hi everyone. It's a pleasure, a great pleasure to be here again.
Oh, sorry about the dancing.
Yeah, I saw you while you were dancing. I saw you. You danced very well.
Building myself up to it, exactly.
All of us were dancing, but you didn't see me, but all of us were dancing.
Okay, well, there's Tito. We also have Tomas from Czech. Hey, Tomas.
You're mute.
You, Thomas.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Hey, everyone. Good evening, morning, afternoon, you know, from all around the world. Just one thing, Claire, don't worry. I don't think anybody saw your dancing, you know, it was just us internally. But I mean, you can dance now if you want to present what you can do. I think
there was like a 1 second thing where I just sort of, funny, very funny. Gorgeous. You guys have seen me in the flesh dancing there many times, so you were used to it. So our last TE, but very, very amazing guy, also heading over from our US team backing up the European team tonight, is Mike Amico. Hey, Mike.
Hey there, everybody. Claire, we did see you dancing, and thank you for the introduction. I'm trying to smooth it over a little bit.
I was trying to style it out, you know.
It worked. I was dancing too, so.
It's all good. Oh, we thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. Mike, you've come in at last minute for PJ, and Michela's jumped in for David. Honestly, thank you so much. Our team US, you have been amazing tonight. So what I thought we'd do tonight, and I've been asking you all week, throw some images in this folder. Come on, let's talk about creativity, because we actually take pictures ourselves, right? We do it for work, but there are times in our downtime when we get that opportunity to pick up a camera. So, and because the theme of the week is creativity, to celebrate 3 years of OM System, we thought we'd actually show you some of our images. We're a little bit scared, aren't we? Because, you know, showing your own images is always a little bit iffy, but we don't mind that. So whilst the questions are coming in, if you can, you know, if you can get your questions in, and it's a bit of an open topic this week, you can always ask about images that are coming up. If you want any hints and tips about some of the images that we're going to show you, or if you want any other tips, if you've got anything that you want to ask, we can hopefully answer it. So I'm going to be bold, and I'm going to put the first image up now. Hands up whose image this is. Hey,
that's
Mike.
Mine. Yes,
I love this. What a beautiful place you're visiting. Tell us about this image.
Yeah, this was in the Adirondacks in New York State. I try to head there every year. Missed it this year for the fall colors. And this is 7th Lake, so very popular boat launch. And typically every year I'll shoot this deck, but from a higher vantage point. And this particular day, there was, the fall leaves on the deck, and You know, as photographers, we get a little bit settled sometimes in how we shoot things, our vantage point and such. And so I decided to get as low as I could to the ground. This is with the 12 to 100.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, and you know that lens, you can get close. I mean, most of your 4/3 lenses you can get close, and so almost a macro shot in a sense, just a close-up shot of the leaves, focusing on the color, with that nice, beautiful background in the back. So something a little different, and that's what I was going for here.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. You got a little bit of mist, or it sort of seems like a little bit of mist rising in the background, which I always love.
Yep, early morning. So don't be afraid to get low when you're shooting.
Low.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that is your creative tip of the day.
That's
low.
my creative tip. Get low.
Okay, we're going to throw another image out there. This is actually one of mine. Now, I went onto a shopping website and I bought this. This is a 3 AA battery LED, costs less than €3. And this was what gave me the little bokeh in the background. And great tips if you haven't watched the Maria Hydson one from about creative macro the other night. She talks about how the distance between your subject and where you should have the lights. I actually think this is too close. In now I've watched her presentation. But you know, you can get you can hang these on a tree. You don't need to have 2 people, and you can make some really lovely creative effects in the background, really simply. And obviously you've got a bit of natural bokeh there as well, just to sort of add. And something like this shot on the 90mm, I would say. Nice and simple. The forest was a bit dull that day. There wasn't masses going on, and so I decided to add a little bit of light. So yeah, one of mine for the day. Francesca says, Claire, is this one image or 2 blended? No, it is one image. It's literally one image. I sort of, where the lights were, I just placed the mushrooms in that little opening, so there was a little bit of turn the Alexa off, a little bit of room there on the side, so there was a little bit of area around it. But no, literally one shot, nice and wide open, and you can see that lovely circular bokeh. So no, sorry.
Well, let me just ask you, maybe so that other people understand also. Every single one of these lights in the background is basically one glass fiber, right? Which is coming out of this light you just showed.
Absolutely, yes.
Nice.
So this light is a very, very thin LED. There's one placed every sort of 2.5-3 inches, and I just literally hung them from a tree. And they're so easy to carry. You know, when you think about going in the field, you want to go light, right? That's the point of having a lighter system, lighter lenses, and so you also want the tools and the fun things that you take with you to be light as well. So I think there's about 50 lights on this little tiny thing, and you can switch them. They flash, they do the different colors. Really, really fun little tool for sure.
Especially now for the Christmas season, because these are being used for Christmas tree decorations, right? So you can, I think everybody would have them at home very soon.
Exactly. Okay, we're going to jump into a question, because obviously we're here to answer other people's questions. Our images are just there as almost like a little background sort of fun thing. But we got a great question from Bill Dennis. Bill Dennis says, I've been doing some comet astrophotography, and night vision mode greatly helps with this, but the LCD is very bright. Is there any way to dim the LCD to red, or on a button, or on a custom mode? Mike?
That's a good question. I believe you can dim your LCD a little bit in the back in your tool section, I believe. Another thing you can do is, if you use your remote and use your phone, I mean, you can dim your phone a little bit, sort of use a different display if it gets too bright. But I don't know if you guys know for sure. I could check on the camera and find that.
What about one of you, Thomas? Do you know this off by heart? So is everyone grabbing their cameras now and having?
I know we're all looking. There we go. There we go. You beat me to
it. You can go from 0 to +7 and -7, right?
Right.
Yeah, there it is. Yep, right there. Yep, monitor adjust.
Yeah, I can't go in because the video cable that doesn't allow me to activate it, but it's here. You can adjust the brightness of the monitor and also the viewfinder. Yeah.
Yeah, right in that tool section.
I'm just checking it out, and it really goes from -7 to +7. So basically, if you go to -7, you really dim the monitor very, very down.
Yeah.
It's -7 by default when you select the live modes, lifetime, live composite. Is -7 by default. Yeah.
Yep. So you can absolutely do that.
Woohoo! Well, there you go. Absolutely amazing. You have been a star. Okay. Can you please add GPS onto the next OM? It's such a vital part of wildlife photography. Okay, we will.
I'll do it.
Add it into the list. Get your tools out. Sorry, Paul. We will always put these comments into it. We have a big spreadsheet. All this sort of stuff goes in. You know, as I said, we really don't. Yeah,
I'm just doing it right now. There's one Mark II.
Yeah, I think Paul wants to have it like we had in the EM1.
Yes.
Built-in GPS, but in the meantime, we don't know what we will have in the future models. But I think it's solved because we can implement, we can embed the GPS data from the mobile phone through the app, through OM image share applications. So at the moment, is at least we have a solution.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and obviously the TUF has it as well, doesn't it? So, good evening to good evening to Roy Jenkins Packer. Hey, Roy, how are you? Hope you're doing well. He says hi from Cornwall. Could you please tell me if I need to turn off the stabilization when using a zoom lens on a tripod to get a better, sharper image? Who wants this one?
The answer is no.
Yeah, I would say yes, because you save energy, but you don't need it. You will not have any problem if you keep the stabilization on. And also, sometimes if you keep the stabilization activated and it's windy, if you are taking a long exposure picture and it's a bit windy, the stabilization will help you. But if it's quiet, it's not windy, I would always recommend to switch it off because you will save energy, you will save battery.
Yeah, so when I do like really long exposures, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, then I definitely turn it off because any tiny bit of vibration when the shutter's open for that long. So Roy, I suppose for sure on a zoom lens, I would say leave it on. But if it's a long exposure, then I would probably say switch it off for sure.
Yeah, but the thing is that if Roy, what type of images Roy is shooting, you know, he's not saying that he's shooting like stars or something like that. I think if he uses telelenses, then I would say, okay, he's shooting probably birds, animals and stuff like that. And in such case, with telelenses, sorry guys, I would not agree with you. I would just leave it on all the time because it really helps a lot. And basically, I have this, my own internal saying that up to 100 millimeter, you can turn it off. It's still okay because it's wide angled and basic focal length and so on. But over 100 millimeter, 100, 200, and so on, which our telelenses are, then I would recommend strongly to keep it on because, I mean, every single tiny shake, as Tito said, even shake of the tripod, because otherwise you would have to have like heavy, sturdy tripod, which probably you don't want to carry around, right? Because our equipment is lightweight, so you don't want to carry heavy tripod either. So basically, all the equipment you have is very lightweight. So in every single tiny wind, I mean, stabilization helps a lot. And we have got 8.5 EVs in our cameras. I mean, which is amazing. It helps.
Yeah, I will add. Let me add some point because if you are using a tripod and you're using a telelens, very long telelens, and in the past when we were using the stabilized lenses in the analog times, it was recommended to turn the stabilization off because the stabilization was on the lens. That's not recommendable. But now we have the stabilization on the body, and in the body there is not any problem. And also, if we have synchronized lenses, you shouldn't have any problem. That we have that that idea that the stabilization is not good idea when you have to when you are working on a tripod. But this is because in the past we were working with the stabilization on the lenses, only on the lenses.
Yeah, true. Good answers. Everybody's got a lot to take out from that. That is amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. This is a lovely gentleman who was on our Hanu Hutumo live painting last night. And John, like me, was like, wow, every time an image came up, because Hanu is the master of light painting. And interestingly, he says, as someone just getting into OM, would you go for the OM1 Mark II or the OM1? I mean, now's the time to buy for sure. The cashbacks are amazing, but it says, I'm not a beginner, been using Nikon and Fuji. Is the Mark II worth the extra? And what everyday lens would you go for? Going to start with you, Mike.
All right. Well, it's sort of personal preference, right? OM1 versus OM1 first. The OM1 is perfectly fine. It's a beautiful camera. It was a 2-year like mid refresh, probably to get the name on the camera. So your main difference is you're going to have a bigger buffer, and that allows you to do things like, shoot more raw faster. So if you're shooting things like birds, wildlife, and you don't want to fill that buffer, it's worth it getting the Mark II. If you're into landscape and you want all the computational features we can give you, the graduated neutral density is really cool. So that's the Mark II. It really is cool. But other than that, I mean, there's a few things. The buttons are really nice. The dials, having the rubber dials are nice, especially with winter coming. But the Mark I's a fantastic camera, and getting into the system, I mean, it's a great camera. There's nothing wrong with that camera. As far as a lens, I hate to recommend it. If you don't mind carrying it, 12-100. It just lives on my camera. It's such a great lens. Unless you're doing Astro and you need the 2.8, the 12-100 is my choice. I hate to sell it because it cannibalizes a lot of my other lenses.
I mean, financially, the 1240 kit is really viable because you save
that's
about
a nice kit too.
$500, euros, whatever.
That's right. I forgot about the kit. That's right.
Yeah, when you buy it as a kit, you can save a lot of money, and it is a good way, he says, as an everyday lens. But you're absolutely right. The 12-100, once you've played with it, and then you're like, whoa. What about you, Thomas? What would you recommend?
I mean, as for the lenses, let's start from the lenses now. I mean, I have slightly different opinion. 12-100, amazing lens, as for one single lens. On the other hand, John, it very much depends on what type of photography you are shooting. If you are somehow outdoors and indoor photographer as well, then I would strongly recommend you to choose one of, or maybe all of them, of the golden triangle, as I call it, which is our 2.8 lenses, which is 714, 1240, and 4150. All of them 2.8. And I mean, this is amazing. You can shoot, I mean, inside whatever, inside reportage photography, inside sports photography, and you can, in the same time, you can just go outside and shoot whatever outdoor photography you love. So basically, these lenses, or one of them, you choose according to your choice, to your, I mean, necessity, what you need for.
Yeah.
But as for the camera, I mean, Mike just said it all. I mean, every best features and all the computational features which you can today find in mirrorless cameras, you will find in one single body on the market, and that is OM1 Mark II. So including the focus stacking, focus bracketing features, even though they are on OM1 as well, the first one, they are also somehow improved on OM1 Mark II. You have like a high-res shot, but on OM1 Mark II, it's even better because it's not only 12-bit, it's 14-bit. So I mean, it has improved quite a lot. And as Mike said, you might be shooting birds, for example. So OM1 Mark II for shooting birds is much improved because it does focus on the animals, on the birds, which are somehow hidden or just partially seen behind trees, branches, and stuff like that. So it is amazing camera. I mean, if you have some extra spare money, I would definitely go for OM1 Mark II. And now there are the savings with the cashbacks and all the promotions. Just go look at it, and you'll buy it for almost nothing.
Sure. What about you, Tito? What would you recommend as a first lens if you were new to the system and you had a couple of $1,000 or euros in your pocket? How would you burn that money?
I will absolutely. I will also go to the OM1 Mark II because, as Mike said, it's a very personal decision because the OM1 is an amazing camera, but the buffer is the key. The buffer is the secret, and I love landscape. And since I tried the GND, the Ryan Neutral Density Filter, I can't live without it.
It's amazing. And like you say, there is quite a few differences between the 1 and the 2, so you know, it wasn't an evolution, it wasn't a revolution, it was an evolution. All products have an evolution, right? They evolve over a certain amount of time when new things come along and processes get better and AF gets better and AI gets better. So there you go,
and also,
John.
For birding and landscape and birding, the improvement on the focus, on the autofocus, I use a lot Pro Capture mode, and I also know see the difference. Yeah, it's worth for me. It's worth.
Yeah. Also, one great improvement we don't really talk about that much, John. Maybe if you are shooting people at sports or other type of photography, if you're shooting people, then OM1 it still has the, let's say, the old type of face detection where it needs to find eyes, you know, nose, and so on, and this kind of stuff. While there was the other subjects which use the artificial intelligence detection, but OM1 Mark II also uses the artificial intelligence detection for human beings. So it not only shoots people when it sees the face, but it can detect the human being from the back, you know, the whole body, you know. So it just works the same way as for other subjects like birds and cars and so on. So
yeah, it literally ticks a box for a lot of people.
About the one is a great price.
So is right. Let's get off this subject and let's chuck. And seeing as you brought up Pro Capture, Tito, I'm going to get you to go in for this one first because you are a Pro Capture nut. How to set Pro Capture SH2 mode completely silent. Mine makes 2 very short beeps when I press the shutter button halfway. Is there a setting to make it totally silent?
Yeah, Tommy, I think you're talking about the beep when the autofocus is confirmed, because ProCap SH2 is completely silent. When the shooting is completely silent, it's electronic shutter release. So when you take very short beeps, those short beeps, maybe they are the confirmation, the beep of the noise when the autofocus is confirmed, maybe. So you have to go to the menu and to disable the beep.
Yeah, do you want to, one of us want to show the back? There we go, Mike. If you can go into your settings and right at the end, keep going. No, the other way. Oh yeah, so you want to go down
Where
to
Where am I going? Is it gears? I forgot.
There, into the spanner, and then
right there it is. There you go.
So you go into monitor, sound on the spanner tool. I think you guys call it a wrench in the States. You can switch it off there, and that will make that completely silent. Hopefully, Tommy, that helps. Thanks, Mike. You start.
Sure.
So I'm going to go back to some more images because we're waiting for some questions to come in. Come on, guys. Ask us anything. Let us know what you want to know. I'll just make sure that I've asked everything. Yes, I have so far. Let's take that one off of there. And let's do this is all done randomly. So let's see whose images are up next. Oh, whose is this?
Nice.
Oh, that's mine.
Tito. Where is this? Is this in Spain?
Yeah, that's mine. It's in the south of Spain. And it was not planned. We were on vacation. I think, I'm not sure. I think it's been taken with the EM5 Mark III and the 12 to 40 mil.
Nice.
Yeah, it's about 2.5 or 3 years ago, and we were outside. We were on vacation, and we get the flat, and I saw the storm in the background. We were going to take dinner, but before that, I said, "Hey, I will take my camera and I will start to expose." This is a live composite shot, so I prepared the camera. I framed everything. I prepared the camera. I did the first shot. Wait for a moment for I think a couple of minutes. And when I saw the first light, the first ray, I left the camera there and I went inside for dinner.
No, so you just thought, right, whatever happens, whatever captures.
Yeah,
wow.
I did the metering, I did the framing, I did everything, but I went for dinner because we were with friends. I was with my wife and some friends, and I went inside. I left the camera in the balcony, and after 25-30 minutes later, I realized, hey, my camera is outside. It's taking pictures. And when I went to take the camera, the pictures were there. It was great.
Yeah,
This is a 25 minutes exposure. live composition.
Wow. Okay, so that's how long it took you to eat dinner. That's pretty quick.
Yeah,
so you
well,
ate the dinner and then went back. Just the first course.
So, yeah, let me have one more gin tonic.
Absolutely beautiful. And, you know, this is not an OM1. This is not an OM1 Mark II. So you can imagine if you can get this on a model that's 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, imagine you're processing how much better the processor's got, how much better the ISO's got, all that stuff, Starry Sky AF, you know, this amazing extra stuff. And this is on a camera that's, you know, a few years older now. So well done. We love that image. Tito, is this one of yours? Is this one of yours, Mike?
This is also mine.
Shield bug, we call
it.
those.
Macro is another gender I love. You know, I love macro, I love landscapes, I love bird wildlife, I love everything. But this is EM1 Mark III with the 60mm.
Nice.
Lens. And I did it early morning, and I have selected this image because talking about creativity, composition, I like very much this image because it was early, it was fresh, it was a bit cold in the forest, and I had time to I think this animal is a bug, a striped bug. It's an Italian bug, and I had time to, with my knee pads, lay down. Was working with the background. You see the background. It's just one shot. There is no focus stacking. There is no focus bracketing. It's just one shot. It's not one-to-one, but I like very much because the bug, the insect, is looking at me. So, and I was working for 10, 15 minutes with him, looking for the framing, the correct composition, looking for the lights, for the background, and the red and the green. Play the green and red game I like very much.
Beautiful. Yeah, me too. I mean, it's so easy to go in with a focus stack and maybe try and get everything sharp, but the point about the week of creativity is we want you to think outside the box. Yes, the cameras are there to help you. The computational stuff is incredible. The AI is amazing, but there's also got to be a bit of artistry coming in amongst that from that photographer, from you. So the idea of OM System Week is break the rules. You know, it doesn't have to be this most perfectly technical picture, but you know what you need in focus is the bug, and everything else around it just supports the image. So beautiful image, absolutely lovely. Keep your questions coming in. We have a lovely question from Matthew. Hey Matthew, I hope you are well. Any tips for shooting a poetry night? So I'm assuming, so it says it's at a local small music venue. So I'm assuming the lighting is a bit off and quite dark. Great personalities, but I can't get the hang of the stage lighting. Well, stage lighting is always a difficult thing because you might have different types of light. You might have warm light, daylight, fluorescent light. So when you have a variant of lightings, that always, you know, hurts. But if you've got an OM1, you can put your ISO up and maybe use the 1.2s. What do you think, Thomas?
I think you can also use the spot metering. Obviously, you can use the roller to change the exposure. But if you use the spot metering and you edit with the spot AF point, basically. So basically, every single place where you point the AF point, it actually measures the exposure from the same place where you focus at. So obviously, you want to have probably the faces of the poets or of the actors or whoever is playing there. So this might be one of the solutions. Obviously, it will give you perfect exposure, focus and perfect exposure of the faces, but not of the surroundings, right? Because the exposure is very, very complicated. Lighted places, then very dark places, even black. So, but I think that the faces are what's important in this type of photography.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And everything else, like you say, if it darkens off a little tiny bit, it's almost quite nice that you spotlight. So, Tito, have you ever done any of this type of shooting before?
No, not usually. I have done a couple of times, but I'm not an expert in this kind of shooting. But I agree 100% with Thomas. The metering is the key, and it's important that the light metering in the focus is associated. So where the camera is focusing is metering.
Yeah. Now, Mike, you've done some band photography, haven't you, along the way?
Yeah, a little bit with the bands, and I think it's the green light I want to say, or the red. One of them really throws off the digital cameras, and that's any camera. It's crazy. But I same thing that Thomas and Tito said. I would also add back to what Thomas was saying about having the longer lens. Keep that shutter speed up, and so you want to not worry about your ISO as much and get it up there. But if there's enough light, you'd be surprised how you could take that down with a bright lens. But definitely the brighter lenses, 40 to 150, 75, 1.8, depending on how close you are. That's a nice one. Anything that you can get close with and keep bright and to take that ISO down. But otherwise, don't worry about it. Let it fly and get the shot for sure.
Yeah, amazing. I love that. Well done. Yeah, as I said, it is a combination, isn't it? Depending on how far back you are, whether you're in the pit, whether you're at the back, but for sure, brighter lenses help. But of course, with the OM1, you can push your ISO a lot more than previous models, like a lot more.
Oh, the new DxO that's coming is amazing. Okay. So yeah.
That's good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, so if you push that ISO, you put it through that deep prime, it's unreal. That's all I'll say.
Okay. And good question from Peter. It says, speaking of Starry Sky AF, on my EM1 Mark III, it works perfectly. On my OM1 Mark II, it's almost never sharp. What am I doing wrong on my new OM1 Mark II? Well, that's a shock. Anybody have any ideas about this?
Just to make sure you have your focus points opened up, give yourself a bigger grid so you can grab more to focus on. Other than that, I can't think of anything that would be, stopping that from grabbing those.
What about if you've got your Starry Sky on speed rather than detail? Maybe you need to swap that over. That could be an option, in the menu. If someone's got, I haven't got a camera, guys. If someone can bring up the Starry Sky AF menu, if you go in, you do have that option of
it's like accuracy and
so
speed.
You see there it says AF priority, and you can go accuracy over speed, and I think speed is default, so you need to go to accuracy. I don't know, that's just a little hint that I'm guessing that may be wrong. That might help, right?
Sure.
I guess that as Peter is using these modes for some time already, since EM1 Mark III, he probably knows this. But the thing is that the algorithms behind are just about the same. So it should be the same, EM1 Mark III as well as OM1 Mark II. The question is, if there might be some slight differences in whatever focusing type, but it shouldn't be. Officially, EM1 Mark II, OM Mark II, Starry Sky AF should be the same. So it should work the same, Peter.
They should work the same. But if Peter is doing well with the EM1 Mark III, I assume, obviously, that he knows how it works. But when some people ask me about the Starry Sky is not accurate, or sometimes they don't get sharp stars, it's because they have a smaller AF target, and the AF target is positioned on the bottom, and it's not positioned on the sky. So the camera, if you have limited the AF area in the ground, and the camera will not look for the stars. Maybe that's the problem. I think Peter knows.
Yeah, and Peter, if that doesn't work, we suggest you get it back and let us have a look at it. Ultimately, don't just keep trying and trying and trying. If you've tried all these things that we suggest, while it's under guarantee, let's get it looked at. So that is what hopefully a couple of suggestions there, which we hope helps. Before we have a look at another couple of images, you've got another question. Please keep your questions coming in. Hello, Kitty Cat 23 UK. Hi, how do I avoid getting black lines on my shots when shooting under torchlight? For example, frogs at night. Anybody shot frogs at night? I haven't, to be fair. Don't use torchlight. I wonder if it's the actual torchlight itself that's got something in it.
Yeah, but maybe when torchlight is not a flash, right? It's a torch.
A constant light. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but if it's LED, it might be LED, and LED is flickering.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is the point.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
I
so
think you
Many of
should
the
find
modern torchlights are LED lights, right? They don't
Yeah.
really produce the old-fashioned ones with the bulbs anymore. So
So would
probably,
mechanical shutter?
Yeah.
Could it be the electronic shutter then with that?
Yeah. So that's a good, I mean, so let's recap. If it's an LED light, you need to go to mechanical shutter, because when you're using electronic shutter, the hertz rating can interfere, basically electronics interfering with the LED flicker, because it's basically reading between those flicker lines. If it's not an LED light, I would still go to mechanical shutter for sure. That does help with any sort of lighting situation. Come away from sort of silent modes like Pro Capture and all those things, and that may help.
we are facing very similar situations many times when we are doing workshops in zoological gardens, and we go to this lizard areas. You know, it's inside, they are behind the glass, and they always use this kind of LED lights. So basically every single person there on the workshop has to switch basically from electronic shutter to the mechanical shutter, then it works fine.
Yeah, and in case he wants to use the electronic shutter because he wants to shoot silent, you can also use the anti-flickering mode. But the only thing is, you use that mode, the anti-flickering mode will condition your time exposure time.
Yes.
And I'm not sure you want that.
Yes, for sure. Cool. Okay, keep your questions coming in. You're very quiet out there tonight. Come on. We're here for you. I'm going to pop this back on stage whilst we're waiting for some questions.
Me again.
Yeah, no, you've been.
This is the sister. This is the sister of the previous blood bug.
So this is one of mine. This is one of mine. This is raining. I was on a workshop. It was absolutely pouring it down, but the flamingos were still out. And I decided to use the rain, just 40 to 150, 2.8, just for the headshot. So you got that beautiful pink, but so much sparkle. It's probably a tiny bit overexposed in the water, but when you're being rained on and you've got a big hat and a coat and you're just like, what? So yeah, again, just a little bit different. And not a typical bird shot, but I thought I would throw it in. Oh, whose is this? This is nice.
That's me. I was yawning. That's me. So this was when the 150 to 400 millimeter with the teleconverter came out, our big lens, and went to my neighbor's house. And this is a dual exposure handheld. So multiple exposure, spot metered on the moon, and then grabbed that exposure in the camera, all handheld, and shot the hawk in the tree that was there that I was shooting in the first place. So the moon was just over to the right a little bit, and zoomed in all the way to, the 500 millimeter 1,000 equivalent. Grab that moon, bring it in behind the bird. So
really lovely. Absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I'm not going to lie. When I saw this shot, I thought it's a composite, but you literally were what a perfect capture. Did you have to wait long? Did you have to wait long for this?
No, just that was all right there. The moon was just over to the right. It was one of those days where it's daylight, but it's showing perfectly. I did a little bit of dehazing in the computer after to obviously help with the blending that's already there. But that was just a, dual exposure. Yeah.
Wow. Absolutely lovely. Really gorgeous. Just a quick one from Roy says, thanks for the answer for my question. When filling out the competition form, I click the link before adding my image. Can I do another entry? The answer is it is one entry per person, just to let you know. The trip is to Japan. It's a week-long trip with Lisa Michelle Burns. You're going to be heading into the city and then heading into the country. It's going to be landscape. It's going to be nature. It's going to be incredible. Lisa is an amazing photographer, and she will teach you lots of things you didn't know you could do. So absolutely amazing. Really, really looking forward to that. So yeah, we can't enter. No family or friends, which is very annoying. Okay, Tito, what about this one? Tell us this one. Tell us this one yours, right? Greedos Mountain.
This is also mine. And this is OM1 Mark II. OM1 Mark II array. Yeah, this is very recent. And it's not too far from home. It's about 1 hour and a half by driving. It's live in the picture. It's with the I don't remember the lens, but I think the 8-25, I think.
Nice.
8-25 mil. Yeah. And I like very much talking about creativity and composition because I look always when I shoot landscapes, usually in every shot, I like to compose with the colors, and the image is not too saturated, but the magenta or pink of the trees in the background, and the green on the foreground, and the yellowish brown orange on the foreground. I like very much, and also the motion of the water. One of the things, the Live ND, the Live G and D, I like very much in our cameras to use the functions in these kind of functions to get outcome, to get results different than those they were designed for. You know what? And one of the things I like of the Live ND is that you see before you shoot, you see what's happening, you see how the final shot will appear, will be. Sorry. I like very much to get no milky, silky water, but with some texture. So when you are turning the dial while you have the Live ND filter activated, you press the button, you assign the function to a button, you press and hold the button and turn the dial, and you can change the different ND steps. So you have in real time, you can see the final exposure time and also the result, and you can decide how much texture you want on your image. That's the trick. It's handheld. Yeah, it's handheld.
That was my question. Is it handheld or are you on a tripod?
That's magic. It's 4 seconds handheld image.
What? Wow, yeah. That's awesome. 4 seconds is a long time. Wow. Yeah. Well done.
My score is 9 seconds.
Oh.
No. One of my customers that used to work in Selfridges, he didn't drink, his body was a temple. He did 10 seconds. And I'm like, I can do 1 or 2 leaning against a tree. But I like my coffee too much.
I've seen a guy with a 12, because 12 to 100 mils lens is also stabilized.
Yeah.
Also is synchronized. And that's the king. That's for the OM1 and 12 to 100 mils lens is this combo is the king in the market. And I know a guy who shot an image 13 seconds with a 12 to 100, 12 millimeters, 13 handheld, 13 seconds.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Okay, we have a question from Rhoda Mackay. I have a 40 to 150 2.8. Good on you. Best lens for wildlife. I want to keep the equipment light. Is the 75-300, which is lighter, equivalent in JPEG quality if I use the 2x converter on the 40 to 150 lens? Over to you, Thomas.
I mean, I haven't tried this comparison personally, like taking 4150 with 2x converter and 75-300 and compare it at the 300mm. I haven't done this, that's true. On the other hand, I mean, if you stick to 4150 and want to choose one of the teleconverters, my personal choice would be 1.4, because simply it gives you sharper images, it's obviously brighter, and it doesn't give you a 300mm lens. I mean, 300mm equivalent focal length. On the other hand, I would go for rather better, more sharp images than using the 2x converter. I mean, 2x is okay. Also, if the day is really bright, if you go for safari, use it with anything, 4150 with 100, 400, any type of lens. But you need to have a bright day, really. So yeah that would be my solution.
I'm the opposite. Yeah, I'm actually the opposite, Thomas. I actually recommend this sometimes at bird shows, because the 40 to 150 is such a sharp lens to begin with, and the 75 to 300 I consider our entry level zoom. Mm-hmm. And at 5.6 you're at a 160 to 600 equivalent, and I think it's a great combo. Only with that lens. I'm with you on the 1.4. The 1.4 is like using nothing, but that 2x on the 40 to 150 gives you a nice small internal zoom, 600 millimeter equivalent, and I think it's a good combo. between the 75 to 300 and the 100 to 400. It's sort of like that in between in the middle where it does give you that option. I think it's the only lens I would personally use a 2X on. 2X is fine. I'm just not a 2X person. I use the 1.4 all the time, but yeah,
it's interesting because if you were going to ask me, I would say for sure the 75-300 is lighter, but you are gaining so much more with the 40-150 combo, whichever converter you go for. You know, it is just like, it's just a completely different ball game, right? You've got internal focusing, so the lens doesn't get any longer. You know, it's super bright. You've got lens functions. You've got loads of stuff going on there. You can also take the tripod handle off if you want to make it a little bit lighter. So you've got that option. You can still use it without the tripod handle. So for me, definitely 40-150 in any combi of the converters. What about you, Tito?
It's difficult for me also to compare both. If the goal is to keep it lighter, as light as you can, obviously the 75 to 300 is much lighter. But in terms of JPEG quality, I will also ask what's the destination of your images, because if you have a light day, is bright, you don't need to go to 2.8 or to f4, and the destination is to upload the image on the social media, Instagram. Maybe it's not, but they are not comparable. From my point of view, they are not comparable. And 40-150 is so great lens, much brighter and also much sharper. And 75-300, I think, is a perfect for entry for beginners to start to feel the zoom. But if the goal is the challenge, the main goal is to keep it light. Obviously 75-300 is much lighter.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going on safari and stuff like that, you're going to go for evening game drives, early morning game drives. So you are going to need that power of light. So that's the only thing I would say against you on the 75-300. Lots of choices to make, Rhoda. I'm sorry we can't make them for you. While we're waiting for some questions to come in, I'm going to roll the deck. This is one of mine. Just some lavender. You know, I just wanted to pop a little bit out so that everything else was completely out of focus. Something a little bit arty. And it's just, I love this, that when it rolls over on my screensaver, because it just reminds me of sunny days and the beautiful smells that you get in the lavender fields. And you can still see the rows of lavender. And I just wanted to shoot something a little bit different. Guess what? 40-150. Oh, was this the 12-100? Oh, hang on. 12-100. I lied. It's the 12-100. Just to shoot and get that perspective. So, and this was shot like 5 years ago on EM1X. So, yeah. Tito,
I really love the small depth of field. Sorry, I really love the small depth of field. But maybe just to let people know, if you could go back to the image. That you can actually make it like sharp from the very beginning to the very end. And probably the easiest way is not just to go with your aperture up to whatever 16-22, that I would definitely not recommend, but use the functions which you have in your camera, and that is the focus stacking or focus bracketing. So basically, you would normally use this for macro photography, but you can also use it for landscape, for architecture and stuff like that. And this would be one of the samples to take, like, let's say, a couple of images with different focusing, how you do say it in English, focusing distances, and then you just combine it together, either in the camera in focus stacking or in the computer during use of focus bracketing.
Absolutely. Right, I jump forward to this one because let's talk ICM, intentional camera movement. Very arty, very creative. Tito?
Yeah, that's mine. Since we have the live filters, as I told you before, I like to experience and to practice and to try different things, because when we talk about live ND, this image has been taken with the live ND during the day, and also by moving the camera, rolling around the optical axis of the lens. But it's handheld. It's just half of a second, or no, I think 1 second and a half, handheld, live ND, I think live ND 8,
Nice.
And it was because we were now in the autumn. This picture is 15 days ago, about 15 days ago. I went to the Chestnut Grove. I think is
Chestnut Grove,
just on the Grove. Yeah, and I went to practice. I went to practice with the Live GND, and also to get pictures for the autumn to create content and to practice with all of those colors: greens, oranges, yellows, and all of those things. And also, I love nightscape, and I love circumpolars and star trails. And I said, I will try a circumpolar in the day.
Nice.
And we have the trees, and we have the circumpolar with the Live ND in the camera handheld.
Love it.
I love it.
Now, if any of you are interested, there are still tickets for Lisa, Michelle, the Zoom tomorrow. I think it's on at lunchtime in the UK, and it's all about ICM creative techniques in camera. So we are doing a masterclass. There are a few tickets left, just so you know. I just remembered to say that. Right, this
and
is
we do have the masterclass with Peter Bambosik, I think, tomorrow as well.
Yes, and is there tickets for that still available as well, Thomas?
I think so. Let me just share the screen.
And what sort of time is that tomorrow?
It is. What time is it? It is 7 p.m. CET time, so it's
nice.
1 ET time in US.
And I love the title, 10 tips to think outside of the box, right? This is so good because we can all fall into this regime of, especially with wildlife, you go, you shoot, you da-da-da. But again, thinking from Peter's perspective, a very well-established professional, very good wildlife photographer. So this is going to be one not to be missed. Very exciting.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So this is one of PJ's. I popped it in, and you can see basically he's used live composite to basically create a star trail. I mean, these are the roads that live composite are made for, right?
Oh, cool, man! Great shot.
So Claire, do I remember the description of PJ Wright that there were actually no cars coming, so he had to go into his car, and he was driving up and down several times? Was it?
Really?
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah.
I think that's what he said, right? Yeah.
That's the best part of the whole picture.
Yeah. Because he was waiting for cars, and the cars were not coming, and he decided to draw the light with his own car. Yeah.
Luckily, nobody stole his camera in the meantime.
Yeah, could you imagine? I mean, obviously, if there was nobody back, he's like, yeah, okay, I'm going to have a go. You're probably like screaming down that. But yeah, I mean, we do not get roads like this in our, you got to go north into Scotland. And even then you don't get these sort of windy roads like this off the mountains. Absolutely beautiful. Very jealous of this shot. Would love to take a shot like this. We'll do a couple of more shots whilst we're waiting for some questions to come in. Mike, it's a Chevy, so I know it's you.
Oh, it is. That's I believe that was a Vet, actually, a Corvette. So I love going to car shows, and I actually missed them all this year. But I usually go to car shows, and one of the things that always happens is there's 1,000 people, right? And so I bring two lenses with me. I bring an ultra wide angle, like a 7-14 or 8-25, and I bring a 60 macro, nice and small, or a 90 now. This is with the 60 macro. And what I love to do is capture the detail. So just little details in the car, the seat belts in this case, something that just calls to that classic sort of feel. And then as far as the wide angle, I use it for usually the engines, get right in the engine bay and just get really close like a macro. So this is my macro stuff, which is more close up. It's just, I just love those old details, that classic stuff.
And I love the fact this car's only got 4 gears. You can just tell it's old. Absolutely love it. Okay, we'll show a couple of more images. Whose is this?
It's also mine.
Okay.
This is it's the same day as the bug before. This is fruit fly, and I was with the knees on the ground with my pads, and when I shot the bug, this is EM1 Mark III with the 60 mils also, and same as before. I was looking for the composition to place the fly in the background, in the backlight. The backlight, that bouquet, the backlight is coming from the forest. It was during the sunrise. The forest was really, really dark, in the dark conditions, but sunlight was coming in from the background. This is the 60 mils handheld, no focus stacking yet.
Nice.
And also, like before, I like the colors, and I like to compose with the colors in mind. Yeah.
Cool. Right. Let's have a look at a couple of more images. Oh, Expelliarmus, if you know the Harry Potter thing. So this is me. I'm doing some light painting. I have some wire wool in a whisk with a dog chain so that I don't get burnt. And in amongst that are little tiny bits of magnesium, which you cut into tiny, tiny pieces. So you get the yellow from the wire wool, and then you get the white burst from the magnesium. This is on a beach, so I'm not interfering with anyone. There's nobody around. There's no wires or lights or anything like that. And this is perfect live composite season. So this is done with live composite. And you can see me in the middle there. Look like I'm using a wand. Really easy, really fun, and such a spectacle. So if you haven't tried this is so much fun. I suggest you find somewhere safe and just go out. It's just such a fun thing to do, isn't it? A bit of sort of fireworks. We're coming into fireworks season, so you're making your own fireworks there. This would have been shot with a 1240. The camera's about at least 20 feet away, so the 1240 gives you enough width. And as I said, just so much fun, and for a little tiny amount of money. Whose is this?
This is mine.
Nice.
Wow.
And this is actually Lake Michigan. It looks like the ocean, but it's not. It's one of the Great Lakes. As you start going north, everything gets a little greener. It's beautiful.
Not open water.
No. It was very rough that day near a lighthouse. I got to say, I can't remember. I want to say this was a 300 f4. The idea was using live ND and getting really close to the water and just taking a shot of the water itself, just the angry water. And I thought it was kind of cool. And I guess the idea here is, we think of the whole scene, especially using one of the computational features. And sometimes you want to just take a detail again, just get a little closer,
So true. We're going to we might as well run a few more images because sort of the questions of sort of thingy. And, we've got some ambassadors images that we want to show you as well. Tito, just literally 10 seconds on this one. Give us a quick talk.
Okay, live ND. I zoom in while I was rotating the camera. That's the secret. My surprise was because I was trying so many things, and I think the most important thing is that you can try and error, because you see what's happening and you can focus.
Yeah.
If you see in the middle, my main subject is in the middle. It's brighter, and they are the leaves of the trees. The trees, beautiful. The green of the trees, and in the ground they are the dead leaves. And the autumn is exploding. That's my message.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely beautiful. Mike?
Yeah, another get low shot. So this is the 7-14, and you can see me in there. It's also a self-portrait. Yep. So tons of people at a car show again a few years ago, and this was just getting low, trying to get that angle. And I believe I was shooting at about maybe an f/16. I was trying to get that star up there with the sun coming through the sky. So, and it was a little crazy. So black and white made sense on this one because of all the crazy color.
It's creative. I love it. You've gone low. You've used a 7-14. I love
Great
the
lens.
starburst coming through the trees there. Absolutely beautiful. We've just got a few more to go. Oh, this is a weird one, guys. You've probably not seen this one before.
Nice.
So this is a multiple exposure in camera. So
nice.
Basically, we took a picture of St. Paul's, and then we flipped the camera around and brought that image back in the double exposure and put my face on the bottom. It's a bit weird. But I love it. I absolutely love this shot. It's actually not taken by me. Guess why? Because I'm in the picture. But it's actually taken by my friend Linda. And, you know, this is all done in camera. That is a JPEG. There's not been anything done to it. We were doing a street walk in London with one of our retailers. And lucky I haven't got a double chin. But yeah, just a little fun multiple exposure. We haven't even spoken about multiple exposure. We will do some workshop on that soon. Right, 2 more images, and then we will look at something that Thomas has got there. This was a street walk in Paris that we did a few years ago, and this is 6 images in multiple exposure. So you take an image, you take it in RAW and you save it to the card, and then you can bring that image back and then put another image on top, and then you can bring those 2 images back and bring another, and so you can keep going. Although the camera says you can only use 2 images, you need to study that a bit more, because actually you can bring an image back. It's called overlay. So if you've got that in and you're never sure what overlay was, this is what you can do. And this is, as I said, 5 raw images, all just basically stacked on top of each other, and then the last one was some kids sort of in Paris. And I actually think it works. It's a bit crazy, it's a bit nuts, but that's the point of creativity. It's about, you know, working and looking and a bit different, right?
Looks good.
So let's just have a quick last comment from Marsha. Marsha says, going to Paris in May. Da-da! That's why I bought the Paris image up. Want to go for Cityscapes? I have the 12-100 and the 40-150-2.8. Which one? I'd probably go 12-100 if you were doing a street walk around Paris. What do you think, Tito?
Me too. I will choose 12-100 because you have a wider angle lens, and probably you will take many more pictures in that range of lens than from 40-150.
Yeah. Everybody else agree? Everyone's nodding there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you need to get closer, just become the zoom yourself and walk towards something.
Walk towards it. Thomas, show us a couple of images you got racked up there. I can see in the background.
Oh, I do. Actually, yeah. Let me just put it on. Yeah, I mean, this is. I was bringing it on when there was this image of the not the sea but the lake from Mike. So I was about to show something similar. This is from one of our ambassadors. As I said this afternoon, Claire, I mean, I am not a good photographer, or maybe I'm too shy, whatever, but I never present my images, right? So you haven't seen any of my images yet. Probably will never see. I have tens of thousands of images, but I never present them publicly. But anyhow, this is from one of our ambassador, and obviously he's using live ND filter here. So what you see above, obviously, it is clouds, but below, just above the stones, this is sea. This is seawater, but this was very long exposure. This was like 40 seconds exposure altogether. So basically, it gave us this type of photography. This is from one of our, let's say, light painting photographers. He's doing this kind of art, and we are having like three November and December workshops here in Czech. We'll be painting.
Really? Light painting workshops? Ooh.
Yeah. We'll be painting this type of photography in all kinds of cities. One of the pictures is this one, also shot by Pavel Plesinger. On the back side, what you see is this is the Prague Castle. So our let's say a very, very famous cityscape, basically. But as you can see, it's not overlit, it's not overexposed. Even though the creature of this ball on the right side took a couple of minutes. Why is it? Because we've got this live composite we have talked about a couple of times already today. So basically, thanks to this, you can have the background of the nicely, let's say, evening lit city, and it never overexposes. And we are basically, as far as I know, the only company who has this type of mode in the cameras. Yeah, so that's yet another picture, another one where you can simply use one of our features, and that is Pro Capture, which normally we would use for capturing moments like the lightning, which Tito showed us at the very beginning. Then basically, even though I know it was live composite, Tito, but you could also use the Pro Capture for capturing one, let's say, lightning. Yes. But this time it's just to capture the pelican to shake, the water out of its body. And again, live composite, you can do images like this. This is again from Yaroslav Hora. This is the one we have seen. This is not a creative image, this one. So sorry, Claire, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, you know, the features allow the technical stuff to happen while you can be creative, right?
Yeah, exactly. And this one I would not personally call creative. On the other hand, I'm kind of, let's say, split, because on one hand I would say it is, but it's not. It's simply 90 millimeter lens with 2x converter. We discussed the 2x converter for 4150, but it can also be used for 90 millimeter lens. And so basically, this is the biggest magnification we are able to achieve with our equipment, without the use of special other, let's say, third-party converters and so on. So this is 90 millimeter plus 2x converter, and basically this is face of or face ahead of a regular fly. Basically, nothing really so special. This is yet another picture, which is to me, I really love this picture because of the composition, because of the light, because of the colors. Again, it was shot by Nikita Šťastná, the same ambassador who took the fly on the previous image. But this one, for this type of images, I strongly recommend, again, to use the Pro Capture. I know Pro Capture we are used to use for, let's say, birds and mammals and this big, let's say, creatures, big animals. But don't be afraid to use it also for taking this kind of type of macro or close-up photography, because, you know, the bees and flies flying on the flowers, then away, it just takes a friction of a second. So it is a type of Pro Capture photography. Obviously, you would not be able to combine it with capture the picture stacking.
Focus stacking.
So focus stacking. Thank you, Tito. Focus stacking or focus bracketing. It's a single shot, but you will be able at least to capture this type of images very easily.
Yeah.
And this is, again, a regular image from Peter Bambosek. I mean, regular. I say regular. It doesn't seem to be too creative. On the other hand, it gives us one very important rule, which we all should kind of obey or try to do it this way, and that is keep the height of the camera from the eye level of whatever you are shooting. If you are shooting a fly, if you are shooting this leopard, if you are shooting whatever else, a bird, if you are on the eye level, then your image will be much better than if you are shooting 45-degree angle and others.
For sure.
So obviously, this is the camera. He's holding the camera by the grip from the lens. You know, it's just above the water level, and he took this image.
So
and I've got many,
and
I've got like many others prepared. I think let's keep them for some other time, because we are already.
I think we'll do that. So we're gonna answer one more question, and then we're gonna say goodbye. Rajiv has put a really interesting comment in, and this is the last question. We have run over a little tiny bit. That's fine. Rajiv says, question on ICM. Would turning the focus ring with Live ND give a similar result? The answer is no, because you're turning the camera, which means all of the image going. If you change the focus, it's going to mean the camera's going to go in and out of focus. I'm not saying don't try it, right? The week of creativity means you can do what you like. But for sure, it gives you a different type of image, right, Tito?
Yeah, my last image, ICM image, is Live ND, and I'm turning the zoom ring. Yeah,
the zoom
not the
ring,
focus ring, the zoom ring. Yeah.
Yes, the zoom ring, not the focus ring. So, exactly. Wow, what a session. We've got some amazing comments. I know we don't show all the comments, but thank you so much for coming and joining us on these shows, because, you know, we do try and bring you some education. We do try and bring you some inspiration. You know, we really enjoy these sessions. You know, we try to think of a theme, and then even though we go off topic, the idea is at least we're sort of going down a, you know, like a road. So it's really important that you get involved and get in comments. If you've done the poll, thank you very much. Really important. Again, the polls are there and designed to enable us to create more content as the seasons go along that reflects you. I want to say a special thank you to Mike for joining last minute, and for Michaela, who is always amazing in the comments at the back there. Thank you to Tito and Tomas, as usual. Your knowledge is amazing.
Yeah.
Don't forget, guys, look on OM Systems events. Lots still going on. Lots of cashbacks. From me in the UK, it's a massive thank you and goodbye. And goodbye to you guys too.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Bye from
It's fun seeing you guys.
See you
Take care.
soon, guys. Take